Welcome to ECTV Live. I'm Rusty Fender. David the Cosmo is here, but he is producing this edition of ECTV Live. It is the Jazz Festival in Scranton once again. Bob Schlesinger, Executive Director. Good to see you, my friend Bob. And Artistic Director, Marco Marcinko. Thanks for making it this year, Marco.
A pleasure.
We had to address an empty chair last year, but we got some good results anyway from it. So
definitely.
Absolutely.
But thank you once again to ECTV, to you, to Marky, to the great producer, David the Cosmo, who's off camera.
Who said,
go big or go bigger.
years ago. It's incredible. Even made it to the billboards.
Absolutely.
The Scranton Jazz Festival.
Excuse me, guys.
It is.
Go ahead, Bob.
It is one of my favorite shows, and Dave is. We're paying homage to Dave today with the Jazz Festival. How many years, Marco?
15.
15 years.
15.
And of course, at the Radisson this year, August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
August 2, 3, 4 at the Radisson Hotel. Yep.
And Bob, what an incredible 15-year run. Have you been here from the start?
From the very beginning, I founded it. I founded the festival. You know, he's laughing, but it's the truth. Look at he's laughing.
Tell us about the early days, Bob. Tell us about the early days.
Hamlin's Grove Amphitheater, and asked Marco to be part of a jazz festival
David,
that I wanted to do.
David, you're not a part
now
of
he's
this
going to
show,
deny
David.
this, but you know what? It is the truth.
Yeah,
I'm looking right into the camera.
Me,
That is the truth.
Yeah, not the truth.
15 years ago,
Not the truth.
was it at the Radisson 15 years ago? Because the Radisson actually didn't exist. It was
at the
Hilton.
Hamlin's
Yeah, that's
Grove.
right.
Actually, it was the Hilton 15 years ago.
right.
That's correct.
Yeah, it was at the Hamlin's Grove Amphitheater in Naog Park. Unfortunately, there was a major snowstorm that destroyed the Toyota Pavilion at the time at Montage, destroyed our space. And since that time, for the last 13 years, we've been at the Radisson, who have been absolutely a tremendous host. So, and at the beginning, I can tell you, and Marco will vouch for me, that a lot of people did not think that a jazz festival would work in this area.
That's true.
And so
And
here we
a jazz
are.
festival
I'll
doesn't
vouch
work
for that.
in a lot of
15
areas.
years later.
Well.
So as the founder, I can truly state, I can truly state that we are thrilled to have gotten to 15 years, a lot of ups and downs, but I think Marco's perseverance, and I'm being really kind now, Marco's perseverance, my perseverance, and every single person who has been involved with our organization. Right from the beginning, our great staff, our great group of volunteers have really helped us get us to this point in the ball game. And I'll talk funders later, but
Well, I'll say.
Oh, wait, you do have to admit that the Radisson is the go-to place, whether it's the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Well-
That is the central location. It is possibly the most historic building in downtown Scranton, being the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Rail Station. That is the go-to place.
and the late great Jim McNulty made that happen. So I want a little
The
little
Radisson
tribute to
is
James.
a great host for this weekend's event because you mentioned St. Patrick's Day Parade. You mentioned some other things that happen at the Radisson. What makes us unique and different at the Radisson? When we first came in there and we looked at that area where you park cars, that covered area where I believe the trains used to come in.
That was the passenger loading platform,
and
correct.
They would have the passengers load onto the trains there. But that area right there, when we first approached the Radisson, we said we wanted to use this space to do the festival, and we described what we wanted to do, and what ended up happening was we created a beautiful theater each year in that space. So it's kind of unrecognizable to a lot of people that come from out of town, especially. They'll walk into this outside indoor space that's covered, that has an unbelievable stage, that has a incredible professional sound system that's flown in, and the lighting that Craig Friedman and Friedman Productions does for us, and the draping and all the things that complement that space. Boulevard Rental doing the tents and the chairs and everything.
Endeavor.
Radisson. Endeavor, I mentioned doing the sound system. But it's a theater. We turned it into a 1,000-seat theater. And we present these world-class acts there, and it's quite a weekend, and it's quite special. And then the historical content of the trains, you know, the historical content of the lobby, You know, when you go in, you have brunch or you have something
Even
inside.
the Phoebe Snow dining room.
Yeah, right.
And even down where Hazuri Dentistry is, that was
Yeah.
the baggage house.
That's
So
right.
the granite building at the end
Yeah.
is still part of that historic
Oh, yeah.
complex.
It's
Yeah.
a great flavor. And it's great for Scranton, and having the jazz festival there is very apropos.
Let me just go back 1 second. Bob, you being the founder, you did found this,
I
right?
did.
That's what I heard. 15
Along with
years
a
ago.
couple other people.
Okay.
But they're not going to be
Co-founder,
mentioned.
ladies and gentlemen.
did-
I'll give him this. He's a co-founder with a
Yes.
giant, no, a small C.
Yes.
Small C.
And put a lot of money into
founder.
it initially.
Yeah.
A lot of money
Yeah, he
into it
donated some
initially
chairs
that
from the
nobody else
theater.
gave but
Yeah.
me.
When,
He gave a couple
when,
theater
when someone
chairs.
came to you and thought of this, or did you think of this, or did someone else recommend this? What were your 1st thoughts
well,
on a
I'm-
jazz festival in Scranton, Pennsylvania? Bob?
Let me just
Be
say
honest.
this. Let me
Yeah,
say
really.
this, and I'm
Be
going to be
honest.
honest. I grew up in the Washington, D.C.
here
area,
we
and
go.
so I grew up on jazz.
go.
Absolutely.
And then, unfortunately,
There we go.
Top
I
10
bumped
market.
into Marco,
This-
who was a big jazz guy
this
here in
story again.
Scranton, and a
Washington, D.C.
tremendous
story
jazz
again.
guy. And we felt that a jazz festival would work. And so, conceptually, when I talked to Doug Smith and I talked to Marco, I thought maybe a jazz festival would work. And of course, here we are again, 15 years later, because it has worked. And we are growing. We're not by any stretch of the imagination done with what we need to do to polish everything up. But Marco's been a great artistic director in terms of bringing in the world-class talent that we've had there, and it is truly amazing as we reflect back.
Over 15 years, we've had Grammy Award-winning artists that are appearing at Newport Jazz Festival, that appear at Monterey Jazz Festival.
From mainstream
Montreal,
to the
New
up and coming,
Orleans.
Spyro Gyra
Yeah.
a couple of years ago.
One of
They
the
were as
great
much
grand-
pop
That's right.
as they were jazz.
Two sellouts. when just
Average
Spyro
White
Gyra.
Band.
Average white band.
We've also presented War. We presented Stanley Clark. We
Chuck
presented
Mangione.
Chuck Mangione, master
Yeah.
of the flugelhorn.
That's right.
Oh.
Absolutely.
So
The-
we've set the bar very high, and we want to compete against the other festivals, you know, like a Newport or like I said, Montreal or New Orleans. We want to present the artists that people would have to travel to New York City or Philadelphia or outside this area. We want to bring those artists here that have never played here
And
before.
pay
and
outrageous
present them.
prices.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, this year, no exception, Freddie Cole.
Legendary. Freddie Cole.
88 years old. He's
Yes.
going to be in this October, still on the road.
still on the
Legendary.
road.
The Chicago jazz great who branched out and then won Grammys,
Yeah.
inducted into the Georgia,
Yeah.
of all places, the Georgia Hall of Fame,
Yep.
and then played in Baton Rouge as well as far down to New Orleans. So even though it's Chicago roots on the old OK
He resides
record
in
label.
Atlanta now.
And Atlanta. See?
He resides in
well,
Atlanta.
he got he got the nomination, the Hall of Fame in Atlanta, and a couple of years ago. I mean, from Chicago to Baton Rouge to Atlanta. What can you say about
about
Lionel Cole, Freddie
I'm
Cole?
going to say Freddie Cole and his son Lionel, who's Mariah Carey's musical director, will be traveling with him and also performing on the bill with his father, Freddie Cole. It's a family business, and they're going to be celebrating 100 years of Nat King Cole. So it's the centennial of Nat King Cole. So Freddie being on the road right now, celebrating his brother's life, singing those songs is going to be quite magical for us.
And we had him there 6 years ago, and everybody was kind of milling around before he went on. As soon as he sat down at the piano and hit one note, suddenly everybody stopped
Yeah, you could hear a pin drop.
and listened, and an hour and a half later, a rousing standing ovation.
Rusty will get a kick out of this thing that you told me. You know how Brian in the Scranton Times puts in like on this date in history?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Freddie Cole appeared at the Wellwood, right?
Yeah.
At the Wellwood
He was at
Lounge
the
on the
Wellwood.
Scranton Carbondale Highway
on
in
Route
Einan.
6,
How
right,
about
up
that?
United. Now, when I was a kid, I saw Maynard play there, Buddy.
Everybody played there.
Yeah.
Doc
the Wellwood-
Severinsen,
yeah,
you're right.
every-
Maynard Ferguson, you're
Stan
right.
Kenton,
That's correct.
I saw
Stan
all of
Kenton,
these.
that's
That was
when I was a
50
kid.
years ago. 50 years
That
ago.
was?
Well,
Was
50
50
years
years ago.
I'm
It
not
was
saying-
50 years.
I'm not saying how old I am, but I know you guys are much older.
Well, I
than
don't
me.
mind.
Oh,
you saying
thanks for that, Marco.
I
Anyway,
own my age.
Always appreciate it,
All right.
Marco.
I know
Thank
I'm
you.
the youngest of the trio.
Thank
here,
you,
so-
Marco.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And a
But
lot to
anyway,
learn. A lot
Do
to
you
learn.
remember what it said? Do you remember what it said about Freddie Cole with that appearing at the Wellwood?
It just said the Freddie Cole Review, and it seemed like everybody knew who he was then. But here he is, wiser and probably a better player than he was 50 years ago. Because, Marco, you know,
Like
with
a
musicians,
fine aged wine.
when musicians, They get better with age as
Yeah.
long as their health stays with them.
Yeah.
And fortunately, Freddie's going to be in
And
Scranton
not
again.
only that, but a whole new audience now of downloaders other than vinyl buyers.
course,
it's
of
a
course.
whole new
Yeah. Of
chemistry.
course.
It's a whole new generation.
And one of our goals, I should say from the artistic standpoint, is jazz is a very large umbrella.
Yes,
There's
it
a
is.
lot of different styles underneath.
Even
what is
blues
called
and soul is under the umbrella.
So we're presenting Shamika Copeland, Johnny Copeland's
There you go,
daughter.
Johnny Copeland's daughter, Texas blues
Yeah.
extraordinaire, Johnny
on
Copeland.
Saturday night. So we have blues under that umbrella. We have Freddie Cole, which is, the American Songbook under that umbrella. Then we also have the 4-time Grammy Award winning trumpeter Randy Brecker.
And flugelhornist as
Right.
well.
One of the founders of Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
so-
which is why they had that brassy sound back in
Exactly.
1968
That's
with
right.
the full orchestration.
Exactly.
Incredible.
Might I add that he's playing with one of my favorite parts of the Jazz Festival is the 16-piece orchestra that Marco puts together. And Randy Brecker is going to be playing as the guest artist with
Yeah,
them.
he's our guest artist with the
So
big band.
I mean, and the big band is great.
Yeah.
And so I mean, we got different players every single night that hopefully will appeal to a broad audience. Freddie Cole, his music, Shamika Copeland, who the Chicago Tribune called one of the great blues voices of our time, and of course our 16-piece orchestra headed by Marco and Randy Brecker as our guest
And
artist.
it's great the way you specify the genre.
Yeah.
The Freddie Cole will go to the Miles Davis Sketches of Spain kind of blue audience.
Okay.
And then the Shamika Copeland will go to the Wynton Marsalis kind of audience.
Okay.
It's all age demos the way you do that. It's not just anyone who likes 1940s or 50s classic jazz as well. You can't
there's
do
something
that.
for everyone.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, people say, "Oh, it's a jazz festival." I don't like jazz. You don't know that you're listening to jazz, America's classical music. You're hearing it all the time. Anyone who plays a solo, whether it be in a rock situation, a funk situation, even in a country situation, if they're improvising, that comes from this music. Improvisation comes from this style of jazz music. So I remember, back to our producer again, David DeCosmo. He said, "Well, I like jazz, but I like that older style jazz. Is there newer stuff that's happening today that's just as good as the old stuff that I like?" And I said, "David, remember once you told me, go big or go bigger?" I said, "They're going bigger now."
Absolutely.
They're going bigger
Absolutely.
now. So it's all good. So we have something that represents, even with the young generation that's coming up, great jazz players, infusing other kinds of styles of music into the jazz. So something for everyone at this festival. Always.
Took a while to get these acts. You were working on this since last year. Obviously,
Yeah.
you got only
October.
52 weekends of the year, and you got to throw a
October.
couple of those out. So since October.
Yeah.
Incredible,
And one of
isn't
the
it?
things that we had talked about as far as bringing artists in was Shamika Copeland was there 9 years ago. Or was
On
it
a
10,
Friday
10
night.
years?
Oh, really?
10 years
She was
ago.
here.
Yeah, she
and
was here.
people kept saying to us, "You got to bring back Shamika Copeland."
Yeah.
And for the 15th anniversary, we talked about maybe we should bring back some players. Shamika Copeland was right at the top of the list.
Another one was Sherry Miracle, the great
Oh, yeah.
female
She's
drummer
terrific.
who leads Diva. She's bringing her 5-piece version of the band Diva. And she'll be
All-female band.
They'll be opening up for Freddie Cole. All female musicians that are par excellence. They play all over the world. People were blown away by that group several years ago when we presented them, so we want to present them again.
What's the lineup? Freddie Cole comes on what night?
Friday
Friday
night.
night.
Friday night.
Doors will be 8 o'clock. We'll have an opening act, Sherry Miracle and 5 play, then Freddie Cole will go on. And then right after that on Friday night, we have a jazz walk. And the jazz walk is a continuation of what happens on the main stage, but it's in downtown venues in Scranton. You could go to Radisson's Tracks patio. You could hear music there. You could go to PJ's Pub in the Hilton, hear music there. You could go to the Bog. You could go to the Backyard Ale House. You could go to Posh. You could go to Adezo in the center court area by the Marquee building, right in the alleyway across from the Hilton. So there's all of this going on. And then we cooperate with First Friday. Earlier in the evening, from 6 to 8, we have jazz in various venues on the First Friday walk.
Tickets and where available, Marco?
Okay, so if you want to go online, you could go to scrantonjazzfestival.org, scrantonjazzfestival.org, and you could also purchase tickets 570-575-5282. So that's the box office phone number. So Or you could go to Joe Nardone's Gallery of Sound in Scranton or on Mundy Street in Wilkes-Barre, and you could purchase tickets there as well.
When you mentioned that the first jazz festival was snowed out, apparently this was not the same date as when you started this.
No, that was-
as when
no,
you
no.
founded it 15
That
years
was
ago.
the infamous Valentine's Day snowstorm
that's what I
in
thought.
2007.
Right.
And we had just built a facility in Naog Park, and the Jazz Festival was a component of it. And so actually, am I one of the founders? Yes. But what I really wanted to see was a jazz festival happen. And it has happened. And, we're very proud of the fact that we've come this far. And one thing about Shamika Copeland, I mean, she, to me, will take what some people conceptualize as jazz as like the Miles Davis stuff.
Correct.
She will be mainstream blues, and I thought she was fantastic 9 years ago, and there's no reason why she's not going to be great on
She has
Saturday
a great
night.
band. She has a great voice.
She'll appeal to the
And,
Freddie Cole
oh,
set. You know, with
man.
like I said, Sketches of Spain, Kind of Blue, biggest albums ever, Columbia for Miles Davis. She'll appeal to
If
that.
you like, I'm going to say it's real American music. If you like country music, you're going to like Shamika. If you like jazz, you're going to like Shamika. If you like the blues, obviously, you're going to like Shamika. It just roll. If you like rock and roll, you're going to like it. She has a very eclectic sort of thing. She has a wonderful band. She puts on a great show. It's worth it.
And the supporting acts.
Yeah.
Tommy Hamilton's Work in Progress. It's now a CD. It's a great piece of jazz featuring primarily local musicians, right? Regional musicians.
But with world-class appeal, because the Work in Progress band with Tommy Hamilton leading it, his music, his compositions has been played on radio across the country.
And he
across
opens
the
up
world.
for Shamika on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then, Marco, you might as well mention what we got on Sunday.
We always do, this is another thing, Rusty, that we've talked about in the past, mostly with David, though, Dave DeCosmo, who isn't in the chairs with us today.
Correct, but
he's off.
he's
He's
a
an
producer.
executive
He's
role
offset,
today.
he's
It's an executive role.
He's
As
one
a
of the great
producer,
producers.
Well, he
as
went
one of the
bigger.
great
He
producers,
went bigger
did.
today.
Well, he moved from this position.
You can't
to
stay
a
in this
much
forever.
bigger-
And
the
he
chair
was
is bigger
big,
too,
he
I
got
must
the
say.
big
call.
and giving us this
Exactly.
set. He could have been right here.
But
But he said,
always
no,
says-
I'm the
He
producer.
went bigger, but he stays down with the common folk like us.
Yeah.
I give you a lot of credit,
Yeah,
David.
he's something else, I got to say.
Yeah, he is something else.
Yeah.
I
No, he
remember
really
him
is.
saying-
He is something else.
I remember him saying to me, "Now, do the young people like this music? How do you get to them with it?" I said, "Well, David, we educate them." "Oh, you educate them? How do you do that?" "Well, we do a camp, a jazz camp that's running this week right now. I stepped away from it to be with you." At this point, but right now we have 20 students studying.
That's the
with
Jazz
us.
Institute,
yeah,
correct?
The PA Jazz Institute that we hold at Marywood University. We have 20 students there that we train for the week.
It's a
teach them about
workshop,
jazz.
Marco?
Yeah, it's like a workshop, and we run from 10 in the morning until 4 in the
No
afternoon.
kidding.
And we work with the students,
Very
teaching them
interesting.
about jazz theory, history, styles, improvisation, and we get them ready to perform at the festival. They open the festival at 5:30 on Sunday, August 4th.
see. They open it. I
Yes,
see.
and then they will be followed by Presby Bop 25th Anniversary Edition, Bill Carter's group, and then after that group will be Gerald Veasley, one of the great bassists of the world. And he's played with everyone. He lives in the Philadelphia area. He's bringing a very special project up, the music of Nina Simone. Carol Riddick is the vocalist. Gerald Veasley
Nina
will,
Simone,
will
what can
be
you say?
the
She
musical
just
director.
passed on in 2003.
I know.
She's been the entire
I know. She's
century
the whole
just
gamut.
about.
She's everything about the civil
Absolutely,
rights movement,
absolutely.
everything about jazz, pop, and R&B music. Significant player
Nina
in the
Simone
history.
project came out of
Yes.
the whole. Absolutely right.
So Gerald will be doing that, and then right after the Gerald Veasley Nina Simone project will be the big band, as Bob mentioned, with Randy Brecker, and that's what closes out the festival.
We sure changed, gentleman, Randy Brecker. I mean, he played with Sinatra on the latest album, some New York,
oh.
right back to This Town, this with his big
Yeah,
son.
he's played with
He's played with everyone. 45 years, Randy Brecker,
4 Grammys.
trumpeter, flugelhornist,
Yeah.
incredible.
There's hallways of gold records in his apartment.
No doubt.
Amazing. So we're very fortunate to have Randy, who's, in his early 70s now, but is of a legendary status, just like Freddie Cole is of a legendary
Almost
status.
90 and appearing
Yeah.
in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Isn't that
Freddie
amazing?
Cole. That is
That's
amazing.
great.
Still on the
amazing.
road. and still.
Well, it's the
Rusty,
music that keeps them going.
I know that you're on your way to legendary status, but I want to bring it back one more time to our producer.
One more time, yes.
David
I'm
DeCosmo.
following in his footsteps.
He truly is a legend
He
in our
is.
area.
He told me that.
Yeah.
He said, but every time he sees, he said, Rusty, I am a legend. And I said, David, I know that. And it's true, Marco. He has told me that.
I wish he could.
Repeatedly.
I wish
He
could
told
be
me
here.
that when
He
I
is over
got
there,
here.
but
See,
I
that's
wish
like
he
me. He
said-
told you that when he got here, that David is a legend.
Mark, could you just roll
David the
over
Legend
here?
DeCosmo.
Could you just roll him in? Could you just please
Yeah, could
roll
you
him
just
over
roll
here?
him over here for a second?
him in
I
here.
would love
Because
the
this is-
audience,
This is
please.
a very
Just roll
atypical
him in.
show, very
Just Here's our
atypical
producer
show.
right here, a living legend,
Here we go.
David DeCosmo.
David
great to
DeCosmo,
see
who
you.
said, go
Hi,
big
how are you?
or
A
go big.
pleasure to have you.
And you are?
That's why he's the producer.
That's it. That's it, ladies
There it
and
is.
gentlemen, right
See,
there.
we throw away the format for this one show. The format is
Absolutely.
right out the window for this.
Let me use your
We
mic.
improvise. We improvise.
Let me use your mic, you don't have to take it off. As long as we're talking jazz, can I
Please.
pay a personal tribute to a man we've just lost?
Yes.
Last
yes.
week, Slide Hyde. Oh, wow. Slide
Yeah, I
was
didn't know
living
that.
with his
I
wife
didn't
in
know that.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Slide played with everybody. Bobby Darin, Frank Sinatra, Beach Boys.
And Dave, you said On the Sea is going to come out, an offshoot of his work, his music.
Well, there's a thing on YouTube
Beyond
where
the
you can
Sea.
look him up. Slide Hyde was just the nicest. I met him twice, and he's like family, just the nicest guy I could ever meet. But so, in a sense, I'm glad you ruled me in because this is a man who
Literally rolled in,
We
Dave.
literally
and
rolled
yeah, you
in.
did. And it does point out one thing to me, that when you see a major performer on a stage, like a Frank Sinatra, like a Bobby Darin, those who are with us yet, the musicians behind them are top rate. They don't get to play with people like that.
And you can tell the
unless they are
sound a lot of
top rate.
times, David, by the backing. You can tell it. This guy played
Absolutely.
with somebody else. That's
But
a
they
fact.
don't get the credit. Those ones sitting in
Absolutely.
the background with those trombones, with those saxophones, with those flugelhorns don't get the same kind of credit all the time.
Right.
They
The
deserve
accolades.
it. They
Right.
deserve it.
I agree.
And so
I agree, being one of them.
And if I could add on to
Hey,
that
Bob.
too, we got the players that come with Freddie Cole, that come with Shamika Copeland. These are not lightweight players.
No.
These are handpicked by Freddie Cole, by
Heavyweights.
Shamika.
That's right.
And,
Heavyweights.
and
That's right.
they don't handpick them because they can't play. They handpick them because you're going to
They're
play
the
with
best.
me.
Russ-
Rusty, you remember when David handpicked you for
Absolutely,
the show?
absolutely.
You
Out
know?
of thousands of people,
Thousands?
and I got the nod,
Yes,
and I
you
said,
got
man,
the
I
nod.
went bigger.
Right.
I went bigger,
You
and it was
did.
amazing.
I also appreciated your rate per hour. So that was.
Hey,
I-
Mark, do you think
Hey,
you could
David, I
roll
like to under
David out of
promise
here?
and over deliver. So
David,
yes.
you know, do you mind if we roll you out now?
I'm going to go back now.
Yeah, go ahead. Thanks.
Mark,
See you
take-
later.
Ladies and
take
gentlemen,
David out of
David
here.
Back to
Cosmo.
producing
Give
again.
him some cookies
How about
and
a nice
take him
round
out
of
of here.
applause for the great
David
David.
Cosmo.
Give David some cookies. Thank you, Mark. Wonderful. This format is right out the window for this show, but it
You know
wouldn't
why?
be this
Because
show
we
without this.
improvise.
Absolutely,
Because
just
we
like
improvise,
jazz. What
just
a
like jazz.
that's
We
an
improvise.
incredible analogy. Incredible. Okay,
You know,
August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Freddie Cole, Shamika Copeland, Randy Brecker, the big folks of this. Let me put you on the spot.
Yeah.
A wish list for the future. Who would you like to get?
Oh, come on.
I know. It's
It
only
comes
a
down to
half-hour
this, though,
show.
folks.
Who would you like to get?
That.
Yes, it is. Availability and mainly this.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
If we're able to be successful and keep going the way that we're going, within the next 15 years, of course, we would love to have Herbie Hancock.
Wow,
We'd love to
how
have
about
Chick Corea.
that,
We'd
Chick
love
Corea.
to have Wayne Shorter. We'd love to have Tower of Power. We'd love to have some of the big boys.
Could you imagine
Yeah.
Tower of Power, the Oakland,
Exactly.
the Oakland sound?
Yeah,
That's
the Bay Area sound.
incredible.
Yep.
At
We would
this
love to
point,
have
Holy
them.
cow, that's
I
great.
really would like to thank the sponsors
Yeah.
who have
Yeah,
helped
go
us
ahead,
so
Bob.
much
Go ahead,
because
Bob.
they're the
Yeah.
ones
They're on our website.
are the reasons why we're able to afford some of this talent.
A lot of the
Lackawanna
same
County-
sponsors every year, Bob?
Lackawanna County has stepped up big time for us. Geisinger has stepped up big time. Northeast Radiological Oncology Centers, big time. WNEP 16.
WVIA.
VIA. If I had them in front of me, I'd roll them off. Lamar, actually.
advertising, yeah,
You know, the billboards, everything.
Yeah.
They've been the reasons why that we have been able to last 15 years. And if we didn't recognize them, we'd be making a mistake. Plus, we got to keep selling tickets, ladies and gentlemen. As the producer of the festival, I know that ticket sales have gradually increased, and we got to keep people coming. And some of the reasons which we talked earlier about people's misconception of what jazz is. You said it, big umbrella. There's a lot underneath that umbrella, and Marco echoed it. That there's the big band sound, the Miles Davis sound, the blues sound, all coming from what America has given to the world, which is jazz.
So
Incredible.
if I can,
Yes.
Rusty, you mentioned about tickets. You know, we try to keep the tickets extremely affordable, right? Affordable for everyone. We can't offer this for free because there's no way to.
No, there's not.
We would not be
There's no
here.
way to raise enough money
No.
to pay these artists.
Well, this is not
that
like
are-
getting the South Abington band in. These are major
Well,
league players that are
right.
going to. They have a rate.
Right. So I mean, if you go to Radio City Music Hall, you have to pay a price.
bet.
You know, if you go to Broadway, you have
pay
to
more
a
for
price.
parking.
Exactly. So for $25 in on a Sunday, you could see some of the greatest musicians in the world, and you're supporting what we're trying to do here for Scranton, promoting the economic development of this city. With all the punches this city takes, with all the woes and problems that we might have, this is a wonderful festival where we could all come together and sing praises of one another because we're presenting such a high level of art in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
And
Well-
we
well
ask
said.
those artists when they come in, do us one favor in addition to the check we give them. Please, if you had a good experience here,
Tell your
take it
friends.
back to New York,
Yeah.
take it back to Los Angeles.
It's very true.
Yeah, Stanley Clark
Yeah.
is from Los
We
Angeles,
get beautiful
Chicago.
thank you emails that come in and solicitations from other artists. Hey, I heard about the Scranton Jazz Festival. It's
snowball
first week of-
effect.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
you
first
know, the
weekend
word of
August.
mouth to me has always been the best
Best
seller, and the word of
advertising.
mouth has been terrific. And we thank them for doing that because, you know, Scranton, they're helping us to put Scranton on the map, Lackawanna County on the map, Wilkes-Barre on the map, Hazleton, all of northeastern Pennsylvania on the map.
It's positive.
Because
man.
really, we're a metropolitan area in a
It's-
lot of respects.
It is a positive thing for this area.
Gentlemen-
3 days of great jazz. Right by your first finger, Rusty.
Right here?
3 days of great jazz. Tickets on sale now. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you can't make it onto the website, check out the box office, 570-575-5282. Go big or go bigger.
Bigger.
ScrantonJazzFestival.org.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here once again. Artistic Director Marco Marcinko, good friend, dear friend Bob Schlesinger, Executive Producer and founder, from what I understand, 15 years
Co-founder.
ago.
Thank you very much.
Co-founder with the small C.
Co-founder
Thank
with a
you.
small,
Small
C.
C, oh.
David DeCosmo, Executive Producer.
With a
He'll be here
capital
next
F.
week with a capital F, small C, David DeCosmo. And
And-
Mark McGlory. Thank you for
We love
all
Mark.
of your
Mark
Mark
attention.
has
Mark
sustained
McGlory.
the
Love Marky.
ECTV.
Yes, indeed.
Way to go, Mark.
Way to go,
For
Mark.
everyone here, Rusty Fender, thank you so much for being here on ECTV Live.